Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Nara Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Thursday night live it is, and all eyes are on Melisa. Melisa is going to hit and hit big. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Goodness gracious me. What a vibe. I gotta say, always pray when you're going out, pray when you're coming in, and always remember, God is in control. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a big deal in the Caribbean with Melisa. It's gonna impact at hurricane strength. And when I say hurricane strength, it's gonna be hurricane mega strength. Stand by. I'm gonna bring that up to you in a minute. I want to say greetings to all my children, grandchildren, family, and friends. Keep safe, all of you in Jamaica. All right? Big up to my daughter Shalene, Shalicia, and my daughter Giovanna and Nikisha. Keep safe, batten down, take no chances. Okay? My daughter Giovanna said she grabbed Melisa by the hand and said she's gonna have a talk with Melisa, see what she can do. Maybe work on a deal so it goes the other way. Big up to Giovanna. Taking the bulls by the horn. Goodness gracious me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna be a big, big deal. And I say prepare. Do not take any chances. It's already making an impact. The rain is there. It's saturating the ground, and it's making life a lot worse over the next few days. It's meandering in the Caribbean. That means it's going to be around for a few days. That's not a good look. Flooding, landslides, you name it, it's coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, take heed. Help those who cannot help themselves. This is a big, big deal. It's serious, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to bring that to the stage right now. I'm going to share my screen, and then we're going to go through two videos to explain what is going on down there. And I'm telling you, it's not looking good. Not looking good, ladies and gentlemen. But we pray to God that each and every one will be safe. We hope there will not be loss of lives. Each one has to help one. This is a big deal. It's the hurricane of the season of the year. This is a big, big deal. I'm going to share this with you, ladies and gentlemen. Please pass on the word. Like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. We're here for you. But ladies and gentlemen, do not take any chances. Do not procrastinate. Prepare. You're in the final stretch of preparation. Lock it down and stay safe. Here we go. We're going to share this with you right now, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
It's Thursday, October 23rd, 2025 into the evening. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. In this video, I want to highlight the slow movement of this. This is Melisa. It is now starting to get better organized. So it is starting to kind of gather some steam and organize. We're going to see more of that as it gets stronger over the next couple days. It is going to be very, very slow. With that said, as this moves closer to Jamaica, this is going to be a long duration event. On Saturday morning, some of us may be saying, hey, what storm? It's not here yet. Well, it's not supposed to be. As we get deeper into the day on Saturday, that's when it's really going to start to work in for a lot of us. But here's the issue. A hurricane on one day is bad enough, let alone the potential of it impacting us late Saturday, Sunday, Monday, even into Tuesday. That is the big issue, because that means two things: persistent winds, tropical storm or hurricane force for about 3 days, maybe a little bit more. And that means 3 to 4 days of tropical rain. So you get the idea with this system. A very slow mover. Really, it doesn't make a difference on the exact path of this. We have high concerns in Jamaica, so we are making those preparations. Now, I want to show you the rain totals as well. So it's the duration of the winds and the duration of the rain, which will really stack up. Now, as this area is still disorganized, kind of a sloppy system, as it continues, a little glitch in the satellite, as it works its way to the north, it just feeds in that moisture. Our team on the ground has been letting me know in parts of Haiti, we've already had that flooding around, and we've already had that in parts of the Dominican Republic. Heavy batches of rain continue to move in. The southern coast of Haiti, the peninsula, we could have tropical storm or hurricane force winds deeper into the weekend. So it's only going to get worse. Even as this area eventually moves its way toward Jamaica, the backside flow just persisted, bringing in over 300 millimeters of rain easily in some spots, especially along the southern coast of Haiti, watching over toward the Dominican Republic. Little enhancement as well of some of the rain in Puerto Rico. Now, in this video, I also want to talk about down the road as this makes a turn.
Okay, let's get back to regular programming. Let's get that off the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a big deal. You got to pay attention. So like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell so you know when we're coming on live. We're going to also be covering this tomorrow into the weekend. This is a big deal, so you can call. We're going to open the phone lines so you can send messages out. So whenever your family members, friends, and so on are coming on the show or are online, you can come on the show and connect with them or send a message or try to figure out what's going on. So on each end, each person can make a connection if you're not able to do so on a regular basis. We expect that there's going to be a lot of power outages, flash flooding, also breaking communication. We're expecting this to cause widespread damage. So we still are praying that it makes that turn. However, the way things are looking, it's not looking good. So continue to listen, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
The Turks and Caicos, so we're going to cover that. Now, here's the most likely path as it stands. This is right now as we work our way into tonight. This is how slow of a mover this is. Tomorrow and Saturday still sitting here, but with that, just pumping in heavier weather back toward Haiti. That is the concern. Again, you've been getting the word out. This is the critical time before the storm to spread the word. I appreciate you sharing this channel, no doubt, to get it out there. If you do subscribe, you'll get the notifications because I'll put out some additional videos and you'll get those first. With that, I just want to get the word out about this. The rain is only going to be picking up in Haiti and even the Dominican Republic. And then eventually, as this works its way from Saturday into Sunday, Monday, and even Tuesday, it could be sitting on top of or very close to Jamaica for, again, about 3, maybe 3.5 to 4 days. That is
okay, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna take that back a little bit so you can get exactly what the meteorologist is saying. This is gonna be a slow mover. It's gonna bring a lot of water with it, a lot of winds. It's gonna be intensified. So they're looking at a Cat 4. They're toying around with a Cat 5. So this is a big deal. So this is gonna hang around for a while. So you gotta batten down and prepare for the long haul. This is not something you want to play around with. You gotta prepare. You're in the final stages of preparation, ladies and gentlemen, and you gotta take heed. This is coming. It's not if, maybe, it's gonna be when. And as you can see, I'm gonna take this back a little bit so you can understand the magnitude of this. So here we go. Let's go back a little bit. So
because I'll put out some additional videos and you'll get those first. With that, I just want to get the word out about this. The rain is only going to be picking up in Haiti and even the Dominican Republic. And then eventually, as this works its way from Saturday into Sunday, Monday, and even Tuesday, it could be sitting on top of or very close to Jamaica for, again, about 3, maybe 3.5 to 4 days. That is a huge problem. As I mentioned, a big system moving by in a day, that's bad enough. This could be sitting there. Now, still a difference in some of the models, although the American model is starting to shift back to the west, and there are more signs that it is simply off because it is not reading the environment very well. Either way, if this were to move right into Haiti, the impacts, the big concern still is the rain. So it doesn't really change as far as what we do. We've been making the preparations best we can. We all have different means. We're trying to help each other. Haiti and the Dominican Republic, the rain, regardless of the track, the major and life-threatening situation. So watching out for that flood and mudslide potential. And then as we work our way back toward Jamaica, the European model, the one I'm leaning to, brings this in. And most of the models show this. So a big model difference, but most of the models show what the European model is showing: a hurricane, a strengthening hurricane on top of or near Jamaica for several days. Now, you can see here, we're going to see a lot of watches and warnings. We already have those. The watches that are out will be changing over to warnings, especially as we go over the next 24 hours. That is not a surprise. We're going to get warnings out of this as this moves closer. The track of it will take it just to the south of Jamaica or potentially in. Now, there will be differences as we go forward. If this moves into the west end of Jamaica, of course, that would increase the winds for everyone, the higher impacts. East end, if it moves into the east end, that would lessen some of the impacts in our western tier. And I'm still not sure about that. That's something we have to fine tune together and just really go step by step as we go forward. So let me show you what I'm seeing, at least a first sample of what's going to happen. Now, Saturday is an interesting day in the sense that some of us may wake up to some sun. Some of us may be going all day and saying, hey, what storm? Where's this storm? Well, remember that Brian said this is a very slow mover. It is taking its time. But on Saturday, especially late on Saturday, the hurricane, it should be a hurricane by then, will be approaching the eastern side of Jamaica. So the winds pick up upwards of about 60 to maybe 70 miles per hour with higher gusts, especially Saturday night. This is still to the east. So again, western zones, not as much. Winds 35 to 40. Of course, with that said, the seas are going to be building. We know that they're going to be very aggressive. We'll already have some of the coastal flooding out ahead of all of this moving in. But you get a sample of some of the winds, how they pick up from east to west. This is Saturday. Now, with that said, you trust me, put a lot of trust in me, and I do not take that for granted. I do the same. I trust you. This map here, and the maps I'm about to show you, they are going to change because the track is uncertain, and it's one of those systems. It's going to be uncertain the entire way. So stick with me, right? I will let you know. I'll put out those additional videos, but it's going to change. So you can see here, maybe by the time I join you tomorrow morning, it's showing that we'll have the winds approaching 90 miles per hour by Saturday. We'll see. We've got to see how this shakes out together. So just know that it's going to change. So as you share this information, say, hey, Brian also said that there's going to be some changes to this. So we're just going to do this system together because, again, high variables, high chance of changes in this. Now, by Sunday, as it stands now, it looks like this will be very close to the southern coast or maybe right on top of Jamaica.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me kind of stop it there. You know, I'm always focused on South Central Jamaica. So here, look at the map, ladies and gentlemen. This is expected to be in that region come Sunday. So pay close attention, prepare yourselves. This system can change speed and direction on the whim. So it's going slow, but that does not mean it cannot pick up speed. And things can change, so they're going minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, to keep us updated. Tomorrow, we'll have at 1 p.m. New York Eastern Time, we'll have Friday Fusion, but tomorrow night, we'll have an extra show. That's Friday. We'll have an extra show to track this system called Melisa. So therefore, we're going to have 2 shows tomorrow. with all shows from here on out until Melisa goes is going to be live call-in shows. So you can speak to your loved ones or send a message out, whatever you want to do. We're going to have live calling shows as of tomorrow. So, as of tonight, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you can call in. I'm going to drop the number in a little bit so you can call in live and tell us what's going on in your location, and give us some videos and all that. You can send it in to us on WhatsApp, or I'll put the links down below. But this here I'm pointing out to you is the track, which is expected to be on Sunday. It's going to be right smack in the central section of Jamaica. So let's go. Let's listen. Continue to listen.
This is where I think it could be. I think it could be trying to make a landfall, or at least close to it, Sunday into Monday, right along the southern coast. Obviously, this is a bad situation with the wind, with the rain. A sample of some of the winds, if this is the case, maybe around 110 miles per hour. I've seen some of the computer models saying they could be as high as 130, maybe 140. Others saying that maybe it'll be a little bit weaker. Maybe the mountains will help us out a lot more. Let's hope they do, and keep it a bit weaker. But this gives us a firsthand. If the position is here, and as I mentioned, it's going to change some. Maybe this will be over here, maybe it'll be over there. But on Sunday, if it is sitting here, we're talking about winds along the southern coast upwards of 110 miles per hour. But that's still, even as that moves in, it wraps around those strong winds on the north side. So we're getting the hurricane conditions on Sunday on the north side as well. Just a little bit less, but wrapping around, and all of us dealing with those very high seas. And again, the winds around the system are counterclockwise. So it pushes in the water here, it pushes in the water here, kind of takes it off here, and then pushes it back. So it just depends on where the center of this is, when we're going to see the flooding. Then on Monday, there are some indications that this could make that direct landfall, move right on top. This could also be Tuesday. That's the issue. It could be such a slow mover. Some of the models are saying, hey, when it starts to turn, it slows down. That's what happens. I've been doing this for decades. When a system starts to come at you and then starts to turn, it's kind of feeling something, but it takes a minute to get caught up into that front. So it actually slows down. So this same map on Monday.
Okay, let's get that off.
Flying for me is,
and go back to regular programming.
May also be Tuesday, and that's the big problem. That's a long duration wind event. If you just have strong winds for a 12-hour period, that can knock down some trees. Well, if you have those same strong winds, I'm not even talking about hurricane force winds, say tropical storm force winds, say 60, 70, if they persist for over a day, then 2 days, then 3 days, that just piles up. It pushes the trees, it pushes everything else, and the wind direction is going to change. So it could be pushing something one way, then the winds come out of the other way, and it pushes it the other way. It's easier to fall then because it's kind of already loosened. So this is a feel of what we could expect on Monday. Winds approaching 100 on the north side, still near 100 on the south side. That's the early feel. Now, if this is more over here and sitting over water longer, the winds will be substantially higher, right? If it is taking more of a route over the water, the winds will be substantially higher. Could be a category 4, potentially category 5. If this comes in a little bit sooner, say into the eastern zones, that would bring some higher winds here, but give it less time to strengthen, and it would lessen the winds in the western sections. Hope that makes sense. So again, it really depends on the position, but everything I just showed you, all of the models, what I'm seeing, it's bringing a hurricane to Jamaica as we work our way into the weekend, especially deeper into the weekend and early next week. Now, as far as the rain goes, this gives us a feel. Here we are in Jamaica, Cuba, Turks and Caicos, Southern Bahamas, Haiti, the Dominican Republic. You see these brighter colors showing up, especially along the peninsula in Haiti. We're talking about 300 to 400 millimeters of rain, 30 to 40 centimeters, a foot to 2 feet of rain. That could be underdone. What I mean by underdone is it could actually be more than that. We could actually see more rain than that. And then eventually, this is a 3-day forecast. So this is really the rest of today into tomorrow, into Saturday. We could eventually see, even Saturday night, this stuff here as this moves in. If the hurricane moves into our direction, is sitting on top of us in Jamaica and eventually Cuba, watching as well, this rain here sitting over water moves on top of us. These are rain totals, almost hard to say, 500 to 750 millimeters. So we're talking 20 to 30 inches. We're talking 2 to 3 feet.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, let me back that up for a little bit. So let's hear exactly what he just said. This is a colossal event. If that goes and sit on top of Jamaica, it's gonna and it's gonna dump 700 centimeters of water. Wow, that's a big deal. That's serious, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? I hope they clean the drains and cut some trenches to channel that water. That's gonna wash a lot of stuff away. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Naram Promotions Real Deal Podcast Show. This is Thursday Night Live. We're going to open the phone lines in just a little bit. I have one more video, then I'll open the phone lines. This is a big event. I want you to like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. Please click that notification bell, like, share, please. Let everybody know what's going on. I don't know who's been on the rock for the last 2 weeks, but this is a big deal. You need to spread this word. This is serious. So all the elderly, I hope the family members and those who are helping have taken care of them, put them in a safe place. All those people in low-lying areas and flood-prone areas, please do what you got to do. All those on the coast, fishermen and so on, you need to take heed, start preparing, or if you have not yet started preparing, but please do so. Do not take any risk. This is a big deal. So let's continue to listen. I'll just back that up a little bit here.
Actually be more than that. We could actually see more rain than that. And then eventually, this is a 3-day forecast. So this is really the rest of today into tomorrow, into Saturday. We could eventually see even Saturday night. This stuff here, as this moves in, if the hurricane moves into our direction, is sitting on top of us in Jamaica and eventually Cuba, watching as well. This rain here sitting over water moves on top of us. These are rain totals, almost hard to say, 500 to 750 millimeters. So we're talking 20 to 30 inches. We're talking 2 to 3 feet. So again, upwards of 500 millimeters, pushing 750 millimeters of rain. That is some historic levels of rain just since we've had the records for Jamaica, if that shakes out. Because I mentioned the long duration event, that would be significant life-threatening flooding. And I don't mean this to be scary. I'm hoping all of this stays away and we wake up and we just get better. Every minute I'm just trying to find, talking to my family, trying to find better news, but just telling you what I'm seeing at this point. We could have an incredibly significant rain event out of this, not just the winds, the long duration winds, but the life-threatening rain. That's why I mentioned we all have different means. If you could just kind of talk to one another. So if you live in a spot that's a little more vulnerable, maybe you've got a place to go to kind of ride out this storm in a structure, more of a block structure, away from water, less susceptible, less likely to be dealing with landslides and rock slides, that sort of thing. So that's what we're doing now. I mentioned now is the most critical time because we can make those preparations. We are in action mode and we can help each other and get the word out as well. So with that, we're in action mode. Haiti and the Dominican Republic, again, for the significant life-threatening flooding, not all of the DR, but several areas. And then, of course, across Haiti, southern end of Haiti, watching over toward Jacmel, tropical storm to hurricane conditions are possible on top of the rain. And then, of course, Jamaica, full throttle hurricane preparations. Whatever you have to do to stay safe. I hope we get some good news. I hope we're chatting on Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, and we're like, hey, thank goodness it was not as bad, and we're grateful. But at this point, because I was showing you late, if this takes that turn toward us, which it should, it looks like it's going to, late Saturday, we start to get some really bad weather moving in. It is Thursday evening now. That window to prepare, it is closing. Tomorrow's the last full day to do that. And some of us are going to have some rain tomorrow. So we need to make those full throttle hurricane preparations now. Don't have a choice in the matter, right? Everything I'm showing you everything I've got. It makes sense that we need to take those preparations for a direct hit of a hurricane in Jamaica. And then we will see together exactly what happens. But we have to make those preparations, no doubt. Full throttle hurricane preparations at this time. across Jamaica, and then we'll continue to break it down together exactly what happens. Now, as far as monitor mode goes, Cayman Islands, I'm not seeing a scenario at this point that just shoots this toward the Cayman Islands, but what I do want to see is how it grows. So as you get over toward, swinging back toward a little over toward the BRAC, again, there could be some impacts, maybe not as much over toward Grand Cayman. We'll see, but we'll see how this shakes out. But we're in monitor mode. We're reviewing our hurricane plan, kind of thinking what we need to do if there's going to be some flooding. But as of now, I'm not quite seeing this just shooting in. If this goes over Jamaica, it's going to shoot right up toward eastern and parts of central sections of Cuba, and then the southeastern Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos. We're now in monitor mode because if this swings around, it could still be a powerful hurricane with substantial rain. So southeastern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, much of Cuba, central and eastern sections, we are now in monitor mode. We are starting to really kind of ramp things up. We're not in full action mode yet, but we're starting to think, hey, if tomorrow we're in action mode or the next day, what do I need to do to keep my family safe, to keep a property safe best I can? So again, monitor mode for some new locations. And you see why right here. All of the modeling except the American model takes this right toward Jamaica. Again, the southern track versus that eastern track, that'll be critical for the impacts, but that's what we'll be tracking together. But it's going to be a large system, so all of us are going to get some impacts. All of us are making the preps. Now, the American model is a little bit more over here a couple days ago, even yesterday, so it has shifted a little bit. We'll see what happens with that. But either way, you can see here across the Cayman Islands, most of the modeling, what I'm seeing now is that this would move right over Jamaica and then lift up toward the eastern end of Cuba as a hurricane, and then, of course, that would mean hurricane impacts for the southeastern sections of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos, but it's a slow mover. That's why we're in monitor mode. I value your resources, your time, all of that, no doubt. So we've got some time, a little more time to kind of watch this because it's going to be a slow mover. So southeastern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, hang with me. We got another day or two to kind of fine tune this. Now, this black line is kind of the consensus of the models. That's not always right, but in this case, this is what I would lean to, that curl back toward Jamaica, then kind of coming right over Jamaica and then lifting toward eastern Cuba, southern and southeastern Bahamas, close to the Turks and Caicos as a hurricane and then shooting off. Bermuda, I watch everyone down the road. We'll be waiting and seeing, of course, if this is still something as it works its way toward Bermuda. A lot's going to hinge on the timing of a front that is working its way back through the southeast U.S. eventually, which I'll show you in a second. Now, all of the models have this strengthening. Again, we're starting to lose some of the wind shear. So a day from now, tomorrow, we'll start to see more organization, but especially Saturday into Sunday, that's when most of the models have this as a hurricane a couple days from now. And then some, and many of them, and some reliable models have this as a major hurricane, but it depends on the track. If this moves right into Jamaica, the mountains will help out some, but if it stays just to the south, it could be a Category 4, Category 5. We're just going to have to handle that together. Now, the concern is the water, of course. If it takes that path right around Jamaica, it would just be feeding off the warm water. That would be a horrible situation, having a Category 4, maybe 5 nearby for days and days. But still, if it moves right in as a hurricane, we have hurricane impacts that would be moving in. But it's not just the warm water temperatures. It's riding right.
So let's kind of put that into perspective because he just flew by that just quickly. So let me back that up for a little bit. And ladies and gentlemen, let's talk. Let's talk a little bit here. This is serious business. Did you just hear when he said it's going to be somewhere around about a Category 4, Category 5? Did you hear that? I hope you're preparing. And we're going to open the phone lines in a little bit. I have one more video to explain how this hurricane is going to, it's going to pan out. And then I'm going to open the phone line so we can have a conversation. All right. So I want you to continue listening, and I hope you're preparing, especially the elderly, children, and so on. You know, get your battery packs charged up because there's going to be power outages. If you have a Cat 4, Cat 5, do you remember the other Cat 4s, Cat 5s that passed over Jamaica? Was it Gilbert and then a few others? You want to remind me in the comment section? Who was there? Did you experience this? For those who have never experienced a hurricane, this is going to be days of weather. Not only that, there is going to be massive damages if it hits the island at a Cat 4 or a Cat 5. So you got to prepare. This is going to be lockdown. It's total lockdown, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be anything beautiful here. It's total lockdown. Get your generators, get your candles, get everything that you need. You got to prepare. This is no joke. Start charging those solar lights. You get what I'm saying? You're going to need it. You get what I'm saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, please get your foods, get things in sealed containers that so that you don't get the flour and the rice wet. You know what I mean? You know, it's a big deal. And I know the government is preparing, but I know it's going to be a lot of barrels and crates coming to Jamaica for Christmas. Is this, if it hits, and when it hits, we're going to have a short time to send things down there. So those here in the United States and Canada, the UK, Australia, wherever you are, Japan, and you got family in Jamaica, if you're listening to me right now, like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. We're going to cover this day by day, right through the entire this hurricane or weather incident. We're going to cover it. We're going to open our phone lines. So, ladies and gentlemen, share this live. Please share, like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. Prepare. This is no time to waste time. All right. So let's continue to listen to this for again. And it's coming to the end of this video, but we're going to touch another one that's going to also give you a more detailed look of what's going on. So here we go. So let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen.
Eventually, which I'll show you in a second. Now, all of the models have this strengthening. Again, we're starting to lose some of the wind shear. So a day from now, tomorrow, we'll start to see more organization, but especially Saturday into Sunday, that's when most of the models have this as a hurricane a couple days from now. And then some, and many of them, and some reliable models have this as a major hurricane, but it depends on the track. If this moves right into Jamaica, the mountains will help out some. But if it stays just to the south, it could be a Category 4, Category 5. We're just going to have to handle that together. Now, the concern is the water, of course. If it takes that path right around Jamaica, it would just be feeding off the warm water. That would be a horrible situation, having a Category 4, maybe 5 nearby for days and days. But still, if it moves right in as a hurricane, we have hurricane impacts that would be moving in. But it's not just the warm water temperatures. It's riding right over the heat content. So even though it moves slowly, it doesn't really churn up cooler water, high heat content, or hot pockets in the water. It just brings up more warm water to help fuel it. Now, here's a look at a version of the European model. And this, I think, has the best handle at this time of what could happen, but we'll see how this changes together. So here's Jamaica, here's Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba. We get back through the Cayman Islands, watching Central America, not seeing a scenario that this kind of shoots closer, but monitoring everything. Belize back through Honduras, watching the islands, Providencia. High pressure, the blockers up here, at least temporarily. We've got the blocker up here. There's another area of high pressure, another blocker here. So it can't really go. And then meanwhile, just filters in all that rain toward Hispaniola. Not a lot of rain yet. Well, we've had rain in spots in Jamaica, but not widespread yet. Not all of us have had that. Then by the time we work our way into tomorrow, starting to strengthen, right? Later tomorrow should become a tropical storm, a stronger tropical storm later tomorrow as it organizes, but still not into Jamaica, but still pumping in all of that rain to Haiti and back toward parts of the Dominican Republic. There's a front that it doesn't really grab it. High pressure, there's that area of high pressure that's at least temporary, helping to keep it just sitting in place. The highs are the blockers. That's why it's not moving. It doesn't have anywhere to go. It wants to lift to the north, but then it bumps into that. I mentioned another area of high pressure back toward the west. Now, as we go from Friday into Saturday, here's Jamaica. Again, Cayman Islands right through here. You could see this area getting closer. Now, as it gets closer, and this is a problem. This is later on Saturday. It barely moved, right? You could even rewind this video a little bit, go back on it. It barely moved. And then with that, we could get clipped by strong tropical storm or even hurricane conditions, southern peninsula of Haiti. And Saturday is the day I mentioned. Some of us will start to feel the winds, but others will be like, where's the storm? It's not here yet. Well, by the time we get into Sunday, this is Sunday, that's when a strengthening hurricane gets closer and starts to work in. So we'll start to get some impacts in eastern sections of Jamaica late Saturday night, with hurricane conditions more likely, very likely in eastern sections, and then starting to spread across. So here comes the system back through the U.S. This is what will eventually guide this system and help it make that turn. So we don't have that blocker in place, and we've got something that can eventually move it, but it's going to take a while. This here is by the time we get into Monday, and look at Monday. This will either be in Jamaica or very close as a strengthening hurricane. Could be a Category 2, Category 3 major hurricane at that point. This is the long duration event I've been talking about. That makes it really tough. I've been through these. I've been through some of the very long ones. It feels like in the middle of the night in a hurricane, as you know, it feels like forever, let alone dealing with this for quite a bit of time. But it does help to know that. That's why I'm giving you the heads up to kind of help reduce anxiety, to give you a handle on what's going to happen, because this is by Tuesday. This model has this hurricane still sitting either on top of or near Jamaica by the time we get into Tuesday, which is a terrible scenario. Now think about that. A hurricane dumps a lot of rain in one day. We're talking 3 to 4 days. That's why I mentioned those rain totals that are so substantial. And my concern is safety, not even as much exactly what happens with the forecast exactly, but with safety. We're going to have a ton of rain. We need to help each other out, and we may need to switch locations to stay safe. Now, by the time we get into Wednesday, this should finally move. System kind of digs into the southeast U.S.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you just hear that? If you're going to have a hurricane sitting around for 2-3 days and dumping all that water, you're going to be locked down. So you got to be in a safe place, ladies and gentlemen. So think about that carefully. If you have just a day of rain and you have flooding, and things are locked down for just a day of rain, not even a day, you can imagine 3 days of this at a Cat 4 or a Cat 3. Even at a Cat 1 for 3-4 days is dangerous. So you got the wind going to and fro, and you have the ebb and flow of the water, the rising tides and so on along the shores, and also all of that water that's oh my God, that's running through. There's going to be a lot of damages. So we've got to send that word out to prepare, help those who cannot help themselves. Send the word out, warn those who are. And I'm not even going to talk about parties. I don't think somebody would be really serious enough to go about having stuff going on this weekend. Call it hurricane party. No, none of that. It's time for you to hurricane parties. I don't know. Unless the elevator doesn't go upstairs, but this is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure the rum shop has sold out. There's going to be a lot of that because we got to rub down in the spirit, right? Especially if the roof goes. But you got to batten down those roofs, ladies and gentlemen. Tie it down if you have to. Chain it down, do something, because at a Cat 4 or 5, roofs are going to lift, and I know how expensive the roofs are. So you got to start strapping them down. You have at least a day and a half, maybe, left, and I say maybe, a strong maybe here. So start battening down those roofs, and those who are in deck buildings, you got to secure the windows and doors, because those winds are gonna kick up. You know what I mean? It's gonna be serious. So, ladies and gentlemen, please um, take heed. Help those who cannot help themselves. All right? Please. It's gonna be serious. Take heed. It's gonna be a long, long weather event. It's moving slow, and it's going to be slow and deadly and dangerous. So let's continue to listen to this. We're almost at the end of this video, and then we're going to pick up the next.
Grabs this and moves it back toward Cuba. Maybe a little bit faster than this at this point. Sometimes when it gets picked up, if this front speeds up a little bit more, it may already be over the southeastern Bahamas and near the Turks and Caicos at that point, kind of coming out of Cuba. We'll wait and see. But you get the feel of the long duration event, as this will be nearby Jamaica, or at least, or just simply moving in for a multitude of days. Now, here's the American model. This one is still different. I still like to show you everything I have. That's always my promise to you, to just give you everything. I trust your judgment, your knowledge with these things. The American model shows this working its way toward Haiti and the Dominican Republic. This is nothing's out of the realm of possibility. We talked about the future, right? It's really hard to forecast 3 days out, let alone 5, 6 days out. Well, this here is the American model. It is just saying that the front of the north is stronger and it will grab it and move in a hurricane to Haiti and the Dominican Republic. That would keep it away from Jamaica. That would be that would be amazing. Not that we wish it on anyone else, but already, regardless of the track, as I mentioned in previous videos, Haiti and the Dominican Republic, whether it's the American model or the European model, we are getting the life-threatening rain. That is the big concern. That's why I've been warning us throughout Haiti and the DR for days and days. Now, this model is less likely, but I'll be watching everything to see if we do have any changes. I always want to give you all the information I have. So Jamaica, we need to make those full throttle hurricane preparations. That's just where we stand now, not only for just a hurricane, Kimball, I'm saying just a hurricane, but one that could last several days. So we have no choice based on what I showed you, right? You've seen it with me. We have to take those preparations. My biggest concern, well, obviously the winds, will be the flooding, the rain. That's why I mentioned, just in your location, your community, anybody who doesn't have as a home that's as good, that maybe they could have a place to go. That's one of my biggest concerns, because I've been through these things. I've seen things, even just we've seen just bad days of rain, right, where we've had huge issues and rock slides and mudslides, rivers rising. This is if this pans out, this will be much more significant to a high degree. So we really need to help each other out on this, which I know you're doing. I'm seeing your comments. Exact track, that landfall point uncertain, doesn't move right in, doesn't move around, east, west. I'll fine tune that with you every step of the way, and I'll update those winds based on what I'm seeing, right? We're going to have some changes. Where it goes, though, very high impacts. Those rain totals, they're crazy. They are so very high with this. We're starting to get that in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, so we're already seeing it happening. And then in a couple days, we'll start to see the rain totals really stacking up across Jamaica, with a life-threatening flooding and the winds. If this just continues to intensify, it could be a major hurricane moving into Jamaica. Every system is different. This one looks to be a slow mover, looks to have some high winds and an incredible amount of rain. This is a very high concern. So take care of your family, take care of yourself, help each other out in a system like this, especially because it's going to be so long. And as we go forward, I'll have more specifics for you. Know that I'm watching this nonstop. I've got you covered. That is my promise to you. Have a good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, this is not looking good. And this is forewarning, and this is to get you prepared for what is to come. There's still a possibility that it can move away from the island. There's still that possibility, and we're praying that it does. But however, Haiti would get it smack on, you know what I mean? So we're praying for them as well. So we're praying for everybody, Dominican Republic, everyone in the Caribbean. This is not something that you wish on, even on your worst enemy. This is a big weather event, and we got to start preparing in every single direction and angle. Strap down those roofs, batten up those windows, start storing your food and supplies. Get those battery packs charged, those solar lights charged. Get it done now. Put credits on your phone so you can keep in communication. If communication is up, get those battery radios. You know, those little radios, that the transistor radios, those little things that we used to walk around with. Get batteries for them, because that's probably gonna be the only way you get news, if this hits smack on in Jamaica or any other Caribbean country. You got to be prepared. So you got to stay in contact somehow. You know what I mean? So those little transistor radios are good. Some phones have radio capability. So keep those batteries charged. Get your battery packs so you can at least have some power, to recharge your phones when they go down, if the power lines go down, which we expect they will, or power will go out, because it's going to be such a colossal weather event, that anything that uses electricity, you're going to need to charge those up if you have battery packs for them. Your standby generators, make sure you have gas, oil, and so on. Make sure the kitchen has food, adequate food to take you through at least a couple of weeks. Because if the roads are blocked and impassable in some areas, then you're going to need to have supplies to last you for a few days until things get back to some kind of normalcy. You got to prepare in every way. Make sure the cars are gassed up, and they're in a safe place, or cover them with whatever you can to stop the impact of debris damaging your prized possession. So things like those, you got to be prepared. Check your spare tires. Make sure they're good. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna need. You may have a puncture here and there because there's gonna be debris, and you don't want to be stuck because you don't have a spare tire. You know what I mean? Some people don't think about it. Make sure there's air in the tire. You may say, "Yeah, man, I have a good tire. I never used it before." Check the threads on the tire, and check to make sure there's air in the tire. There's those spare tires. Make sure there's a jack. You know what I mean? And a lug tool, so that you can make changes if necessary. So you've got to have ropes and so on to help assist other, or chains, to assist other motorists. So you got to have extra gas lying around for those who are helping out to move people around and so on into safe areas. So check where the shelters are. If you should lose your roofs and your windows and so on, continue to listen to your emergency management systems in the various islands that you are, and especially in Jamaica. You got to know where the shelters are if you're in a home that you suspect will get damaged, and it would be best to follow the emergency management team's decision of who should move out from where, and when and where to go. So there's a lot of preparation going on from the government side, but also from each and every individual. You have a part to play, and you've got to now begin to unify and help each other out, because we're all gonna be in this together. You know what I mean? So when it hits everybody, and it's not the time for fumble doubles. You know what I mean? So please, ladies and gentlemen, like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. We're gonna keep live on the show. We're gonna open the phone lines throughout the event, so that you can call in, and you can tell us what's going on in your area, what it looks like. If you have videos, send them over to us. And also, let me drop the phone lines here so you can see. You can start storing this number. Please. Here we go. So it's scrolling down below. So check it out, ladies and gentlemen. You can call in check in. You have the WhatsApp numbers. You can drop those videos there quick, and I'll shoot them out to, so people can see where you are and what's going on. It's gonna be a huge weather event. I'm gonna share another video with you, which will explain what's going on, how it's gonna pan out, and what the meteorologists are seeing and what it means. So I'm going to share that with you right now so you can understand that this is a colossal event. It's a big, big deal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, it's nothing to play with. So here we go. We're going to share this video. It's going to explain things, and then the phone lines will be open to have a discussion. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring that to the screen, and let's rock away with this one. Here we go.
Tropical Storm Melisa will become a life-threatening hurricane over the coming days, and I'm expecting this system to bring catastrophic impacts for our family down here in the Caribbean. I am quite concerned about this storm system. I typically don't say those type words, but I am very worried about what this system can do over the coming days. There'll be timestamps throughout the entire video. Jump ahead to whatever you want to hear about. But I do encourage you guys to listen to as much of the video as you can handle. I'll even have a section of the video where I kind of geek out with you guys a little bit, explain why this system could get so strong and why it's going to move so slow over the next several days or so. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it, and if anybody has anything I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below, and we are certainly praying for you folks down here in the Caribbean. So let's get going tonight. This is Tropical Storm Melisa. It is very what we call decoupled. The convection, the mid-level convections really just displaced away from the low-level circulation, which is the heart and soul of these tropical systems, and that is actually right into here. And you're probably thinking right off the dot, well, the worst of the storm's probably down here, right? Well, you'll actually be correct. Most of the stronger thunderstorm activity is displaced down here. You got some action way over here, over sections of the Dominican Republic and Hispaniola, and there is some deep convection over the actual low-level circulation, but this thing is getting blasted by westerly shear right now. So the entire western side of the system is just really struggling to have an environment of rising air. So what I'm trying to say is the structure of this storm is just not ready for any, at least even moderate pace of intensification. It continues to struggle, and we were pretty much expecting this for the next couple of days if we go back to like 2 days ago. And I think this will continue to struggle through about tomorrow. And then as we get into this weekend, I think this could begin to take off. So this is the system right here. It definitely doesn't look symmetrical. It doesn't look like a neat looking structure tropical system, but this is what we're dealing with, and it looks like it's barely moving, and it is barely moving. In fact, it's going 2 miles per hour to the northwest, and there's been some conversation on social media about us really not even knowing exactly what direction this system is moving. Is it moving more so northeast, west, south? It's hard to tell because it's nearly stationary. It's just not even really moving. So this is the classic look from the National Hurricane Center that most people are used to seeing. The S stands for tropical storm. The H is a hurricane. The M stands for major hurricane. And anytime we say major hurricane, we're meaning a category 3 or higher storm system. So you can see how the cone is just altogether, the cone is very small. And that is because this system is going to be moving so slow over the next several days. Now, a much better way to look at this, in my opinion, is a site called Zoom Earth. And it shows us the forecast intensity as far as winds, things like that. So by the time we get into tomorrow afternoon, this is forecast to intensify about a 15 miles per hour or so to a 60 mile per hour tropical storm. By the time we get into around Saturday afternoon, 90 mile per hour category 1 hurricane. Then by 2 a.m. Sunday, it could be a major category 3 hurricane. And then by Sunday afternoon, towards the tail end of the weekend, this is forecast to become a category 4 hurricane. Now, I do want to note, we got hurricane watches and tropical storm warnings up for areas of Haiti and the entirety of Jamaica. This is forecast now become a mid-grade category 4, 145 mile per hour hurricane by Monday afternoon. What's concerning to me is from Sunday 2 a.m.
So let's get that off the screen, ladies and gentlemen, and then get back to regular programming, because this does not sound too good. I'm going to back that up a little bit because that does not look good. So let's stop there and back it up a little bit. Here we go. I want you to hear carefully. Like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, guys. This is a big deal. You gotta tell somebody what's going on. You know what I mean? So like, share, subscribe, and comment, and click the notification bell. So let's go. Here we go. Let's check this out. So
to mid-level convection to the northeast of the system. So when it initializes, it thinks that's the low-level circulation. So it's initializing in the wrong position. Therefore, it just continues to be further north and east. So just want to get that out there if you're wondering what is up with the GFS. It has a convective bias, just a storm, more intense storm bias. But let's go over the Euro. Saturday morning, it's saying this should be around a 996 millibar low. It's as much weaker compared to what I'm going to show you with the hurricane models for Saturday morning, but we'll get to that here in a second. 996 millibar low. Jamaica's here, Cuba's here, Hispaniola's here. Okay, hopefully you can see that well. We get into, say, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. You can see as that number begins to drop, that indicates a strengthening tropical system. So this is probably a Category 1 hurricane at this point. And then we get into Sunday morning. It's a 978. That's a Category 1 or 2 hurricane south of Jamaica. And the Euro continues to just be further south and west of model guidance. And at least the operational run does. And then we get into Monday morning. This is starting to intensify into a Cat 2, Cat 3 major hurricane. And then we get into Tuesday morning. It's like the Euro almost follows the center of the National Hurricane Center cone to a T. But folks, we get into Tuesday morning and it drops this to a sub 930 millibar low. That's a high-end Category 4, maybe Category 5 hurricane if we're judging this off millibar. Okay, and this is just thrashing Jamaica. And then it makes an actual landfall into Jamaica. And it seems like model guidance has really liked kind of Tuesday into Wednesday sometime. So we're starting to narrow down the time frame of that first landfall in Jamaica. Jamaica is the first landmass we will watch out for. Okay, and then it goes over Jamaica as we're getting a Tuesday night and a Wednesday morning. Then sometime Wednesday shows it making another landfall into eastern Cuba. And then the third landfall will happen most likely somewhere in the southern Bahamas, the Turks Caicos Islands. So, I mean, that's 3 landfalls between now and the next week that are likely. And then this gets kicked out into the North Atlantic where it could threaten Bermuda. And we'll talk more about that as we go. Let's go over some hurricane models. Remember, these only go out about 126 hours. We're going to start them off with Saturday morning. The HFA model likes the idea of this getting further north of the cone. So it has a hurricane right off the southwest coastline of Haiti. And then here comes Jamaica coming up on your screen. This thing starts to kind of move west. So we get into Sunday morning. It wants to bottom this out into a 918 millibar low by Sunday morning. That is definitely a Category 5 hurricane. And this is the southern shoreline of eastern Cuba. This is western Haiti. If I get my directional mixed up at any time in this video, it's not because I don't know west to east. It's just I'm talking 100 miles per hour and I don't edit these videos after the fact. But that is Jamaica. Here it comes, getting close to eastern Jamaica. And it actually dips southwest getting into Sunday night. And then we get into Monday morning. It is a Category 4 or 5 hurricane just off the southeast coastline of Jamaica. And then it potentially makes a landfall. Then Tuesday morning, it gets between Jamaica and Cuba, heads towards eastern Cuba. And this is the last frame we got for midday next Tuesday, October the 28th. And we got a hurricane heading right towards eastern Cuba. Okay, what about the HFB model? What does it show? Kind of initializing in around the same spot as the HFA model. I want to tell you, these hurricane models really like this to really take off in the next 36 hours. Has around a Category 1 or 2 hurricane already. Kind of, I mean, slowly. I mean, look at this. This is Saturday morning. This is Sunday morning. Barely moves. Okay, and same thing. The HFB model wants to take this to a Category 5 hurricane as it heads right towards eastern Jamaica. In the same time, let's not ignore these feeder bands going right into western Haiti. Okay, this makes a landfall right into here as just a devastating hurricane. But I want you to note, this is much earlier. This is Monday. So if you live in Jamaica, I want you to keep, as early as late Sunday night all the way into early Wednesday as an open time frame of where this hurricane can make an actual landfall. But just know that you're likely going to get hurricane conditions for maybe a multi-day period. And then look, guys, this is Monday morning. This is Tuesday morning. It takes so long. And then as we're getting to Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday afternoon makes a landfall into the southern eastern shoreline of Cuba.
Scribe is how you stop it.
So, ladies and
thing
gentlemen,
over and over at work. Watch that.
Stop for a second. Here we go. Let's get that off the screen. Here we go.
Just nasty look. It doesn't even matter if this gets to Cat 5 or not, even if it's just a Category 3. The stalling factor of this is absolutely gut-wrenching. So we get into Saturday morning on the H. Wharf model. It's already almost a Category 3 hurricane right smack in the middle of western Haiti and then eastern Jamaica. And this thing actually avoids an actual landfall. And we go all the way into Sunday afternoon, and then we get into Monday morning. And this actually splits the gap between Haiti and Jamaica.
So they're going through the all the different models as we get closer to when it's expected to intensify to a Cat 3, 4, and so on. However, whichever way you look at it at this point, according to where it's located, then you're going to have some form of impact, and it's going to be a massive impact. So no matter how you look at it at this point, it's going to meander in the Caribbean around Haiti, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Cuba. So it's such a huge system. It's huge, guys. When you look at the distance between these islands and you look at the bands, those feeder bands that are way out there, where it's covering, and it's covering a few Caribbean countries, you can now respect the fact that it is massive, So continue to watch this, guys. I'm going to talk about it afterwards, but please like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, share, and let's have a conversation after this. So here we go.
Again, just comes up and makes a landfall into eastern Cuba. And a lot of people aren't talking about Cuba. It's wild. In the past, we've had hurricanes pass over Cuba. I think the latest one with Hurricane Ian that went right over western Cuba. It's like we didn't hear a peep from anybody in western Cuba. So it almost looks like eastern Cuba is a lock, regardless if it actually makes landfall in Jamaica or not. It's almost like we're really truly locking in a landfall in eastern Cuba. So let's not forget about that. But this goes over Cuba and just has a much more faster progression of this. It's starting to go through areas of the Turks, Caicos Islands, southern Bahamas. And by Tuesday afternoon, it is, much further away from all other model guides at this point. HMOD model, it's about a strong tropical storm, Category 1 hurricane. And this is actually, it's Saturday morning. Okay, here we go. Saturday morning, HMOD, tropical storm. We get into Sunday, it's kind of jumping around everywhere, and then this rapidly intensifies into a Category 2 or 3 hurricane and avoids landfall in Jamaica. And this is a strong possibility. Then we get into Tuesday morning, and there's that almost inevitable landfall into eastern Cuba. Now, there is a chance that somehow this kind of can split. I'm going to just draw in here real quick. Wouldn't that be awesome if this is, you're going to get, somebody's going to get impact regardless, but what if this thing just comes up and does this and splits the big 3 Greater Antilles here? That would be great. You're going to get impacts regardless, but yeah. So the Grand Ensemble, I've been showing this a lot. Tomer Berg created this on his site. It's www.polarwx.com. /tropical, I believe, something like that. But it combines basically all model guidance, throws in on an output for us. All these little lines here as individual members. The black line, that is the mean. That's the average of all ensemble guidance. And you can see the mean is going, make sure this is the latest. It is. The mean is going right through Jamaica and eastern Cuba, right into the southern Bahamas, Turks, Caicos Islands. Okay, so this looks inevitable to bring significant, life-threatening, catastrophic impacts. I mean, this is... and one thing I have noticed is this black line was kind of way over here in last night's video. It was going further west, which kind of opened up more of the thing is, guys, if this takes more of this path right over here, you open the door for a historically strong storm, record-breaking in strength. But you might not get as much impacts for more people if it takes that route. It's going to hit somebody, right? If it kind of takes more so this path right here.
So I have a hot take. AI is not just a
let's
buzzword.
get that off the screen.
Use Monday CRM.
I'm so glad you said that. So for me, email composition works like magic.
Let's get that out of here and get back to regular programming. So here we go.
More people in general, but it's probably not going to reach that high-end peak potential strength-wise, maybe a category 3 or 4 storm. Because if this system does sneak into where I just drew that arrow, even though the center of the storm might not be over land, I think the cyclonic rotation of this system, okay, is being interfered by some of the higher terrain of Jamaica, Cuba, and Hispaniola. So anyways, moving past this, let's talk about potential impacts. So I know people go by millimeters down here in the Greater Antilles, the Caribbean, and we got inches on your screen too here. So what you'll notice here between now and basically this weekend, you got this little notch in red. I mean, that's 12 to 16 inches of rain forecast for the Southwest.
Pay close attention, guys. Pay close attention to this. This is the forecasted amount of rain. Anything close to it, even if they're not spot on, and it could be a little bit more too, but it's just a good guesstimate based on their algorithms, how they calculate these things. So check it out. It's a big deal.
Areas of Haiti. The orange, that is 8 to 12 inches, 200 to 300 millimeters. It's saying locally a foot of rain or more is possible. And just in general, the entire, and remember, this only goes out to a certain time. Okay, so this isn't the entirety time frame forecast. Okay, but a ton of rain over. I mean, we're going to be measuring in feet for a lot of these areas. Okay, so that's forecast rainfall between now and about the evening, between now and about the 26th. Okay, this is the reasonable best case. This is the best shot right now at the timeline of, I'm sorry, this is the percent chance, getting a little clustered minded here. This is the percent chance to see tropical storm force winds between now and the next 5 days. And if you're wondering what these colors are, if you look down here, you're pretty much, guys, you're pretty much a lock. I mean, let's just say, I mean, we can look at this until the cows come home, but the entire island of Jamaica is going to see tropical storm force conditions at minimum. And you're going to see it also in Haiti, and you're going to see it in Cuba, and eventually into the Turks, Caicos Islands, and Bahamas also. But this is between now and the next 5 days. Make sure I got that right. Yeah, 5 days. This is the timeline for that. Okay, pause the screen if you need to. I mean, they even got portions of southern Florida into this. I want to show you this, and I want you to, when you see this, you know, don't 100% believe this is exactly what's going to happen. And we're getting close enough that we can show you a little bit of some individual model runs like this. But this is what the Euro showed on the run earlier this afternoon as far as forecast max wind gust. And I wouldn't say forecast, but it's what the model output shows. And it's in knots. So it has an area of 100 to 130 knot max wind gusts going through Jamaica into eastern Cuba, all the way into areas of the Bahamas and portions of the Turks, Caicos Islands. 100 to 130 knot plus maximum wind gust through these areas. You convert that to miles per hour, it's anywhere from 115 to 150 mile per hour wind gust being possible. Whoever sees the core of the system will have a good shot to see this. But the thing is we don't know if the core of the system is going to go up through here or if it's going to do what the Euro's showing or some other type of solution. But whoever gets the true core of the system, the eye wall, infamous eye wall, will see the worst of the winds. And that's why I haven't talked a ton on winds or impacts, because we got to lock in the track. So why is this moving so slow? Okay, this gets a little tricky to explain, but we're going to do our best at it. All right, so we got a high pressure right here, okay, and the flow around this high pressure, and this is for about right now, what the Euro ensemble is thinking for right now. The flow around this high pressure is going like this, okay? We got a trough up here over areas of the North Atlantic and the lower 48, and the flow at the bottom edge of this trough is going like this. And you can see, for example, I'm going to circle this wind barb right here. See how this flag portion is facing that way? That means the flow is coming out of that direction. Those are wind barbs, okay? And then we have a ridge right here. And you can see the center of the ridge by the way that the wind barbs are tilted. And the flow around this ridge is going like this, okay? This blob of yellowish orange, that is Melisa. It's sandwiched in between vigorous flow up here, flow around this high pressure, and flow around this high pressure. And these two flows on this side and this side around these high pressures are kind of working against each other, right? They're contradicting one another. So, I mean, they're basically, you're not getting two flows working in tandem. So we got flow pushing up against the system right here, and we got flow pushing down the system right here. So here's Melisa just kind of not knowing which way to go, and that's why it's moving at about 2 miles per hour, because we got flow coming here, flow coming here. The system's like, chilling right in the middle, doesn't know what to do. And you mix that with the fact that the steering currents where Melisa is right now are just weak in general, because, I mean, this high pressure is positioned kind of way over here. It's weak. This one's a little bit stronger, but it's further away. The system itself is moving, a little bit further away from this high pressure, and it's way too far away from this. So as we move forward here, the little bit of flow working around this high pressure here is actually going to try to maybe nudge this a little bit to the north. And you can see how this ball of energy, being Melisa, kind of gets nudged to the north a little bit. But eventually it moves completely away from this, and it's not being impacted by it. And then all of a sudden, the ridge that's over like Central America and Mexico kind of gets elongated and kind of strung out like this. So now the ridge is like this. So now the flow's coming around this, and it's coming like that. And it's actually trying to push our system, at least yank it a little bit further west, but even potentially further southwest. And that's why some model guides has it kind of, especially like a day or so ago, has it kind of dipping a little bit deeper into the Caribbean and south of Jamaica, I would just add.
I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Nara Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show. Let's get this off the screen. Get back to regular programming.
Okay, now as we move forward here in time, that ridge influence goes away. You can see how it kind of backs off, and at the same time, Melisa becomes much stronger. And there's a trough. The trough sort of digs down a little bit more also, and now Melisa is going to start to feel the rapid flow in the upper levels of the atmosphere up here. So then it's going to start to move on away. And at this point, the system is very strong, and it's wanting to gain latitude anyways, and then it gets picked up and slung out into the North Atlantic. Why could this system, and I hope that made sense. If you got any questions, put it in the comments. I'll do my best to explain it. Why is this system going to become a powerful hurricane, whether it's a category 3 or 5? Well,
so, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen carefully here as he attempts to explain why the system is slated to become a serious hurricane. He's gonna explain that. Like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. Welcome back to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show. This is Saturday Night Live. We're gonna, in a few minutes, we're gonna get ready to open the phone lines. So it's already down below, so you can call in after this video, so we can have that discussion. Also, please share this with others and send the word out. This is a serious weather event, and we've got to work together. We're gonna be on the show live every day. Tomorrow there's going to be 2 shows. One for Friday Fusion with DJ Ashley from the UK on passionradiouk.com. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, New York time. And that's from 1 to 3 p.m. In the evening, we're gonna get back and dig in on this system called Melisa in the Caribbean. We're going to see what's going on there, and we're going to open the phone lines for you so you can have a discussion, talk to your loved ones, send in your videos of, I know there's going to be rainfall on the island and other islands in the Caribbean. Send them in so we can put them out there so someone will recognize their own area if they're from that particular island. The lines will be open, so you can call in on WhatsApp, call in directly. We'll patch you through so you can speak live on the air. And if you're not able to reach out to someone, we can help you to do that. And that's why we're here as Naram Promotions, the real deal podcast show. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for those in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, you're feeling it already. So I hope you had prepared ahead of time, but it can get a lot worse because this is going to intensify up to a category 3, 4, and maybe a category 5. So we're now trying to figure out whether it's going to hit the island of Jamaica, smack on dead center, or it's going to pass around, which is not a good story either. You know what I mean? If it passes around, it intensifies a lot more and gets to a higher level of the categories. So whichever way you look at it, it's going to be a monumental event. It's going to be a historical event, in terms of this weather event. So the water content to this is not going to be normal. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be historic. And it's going to be meandering for days in the Caribbean and around Jamaica, Cuba, also the Dominican Republic and Haiti. So people, your family, friends, and so on, each one help one. Get to a secure location. If you're in low-lying areas, get out of there. If you're where you have a lot of landslide, get out of there. If you're on the coastline, get out of there. Get to somewhere safe. Know where your shelters are, where the government shelters are going to be set up. You got to start the process of knowing where to go and when you need help, or if you are if it becomes tragic. Follow the media, the disaster preparedness government announcements. Follow those. Trust it. I mean, they've been doing this a long time, and there's a lot of preparation that went into preparing for this kind of eventuality. To take it seriously. We're going to be here for you, so you can call into the show live. But prepare, ladies and gentlemen. Get your batteries charged up. Get extra batteries. Get charging banks. Get your solar lights. Get everything. Your generators. Batten down. Tie down those roofs. The wind content of this is going to be enormous, and the water. So as the water seeps onto those roofs and the wind keeps going and shaking those things from left to right, front to back, it's going to rattle those things off because it's going to be around for days. It's not like it's going to pass through in 24 hours. It's going to be around for days. And that's the problem. It's going to take a lot of water in, and you've got to secure what can be washed away. You get what I'm saying? Secure them. So, ladies and gentlemen, please like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, as we continue to cover this. And this is the section where this gentleman is going to tell you why this is going to be the way it is. So let's listen in carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell.
Right now, you might ask, well, why is the system struggling so much right now? Well, this is flow in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Above the system, I mean, like 35, 40,000 feet up in the air. You got flow kind of going like this. And if you look right here, you can see these lines with these arrows embedded into them. This is kind of working up against, especially the northwest and western areas of Melisa, which is where your L is. And don't focus on the number where the L, just look at the L. That is where this ensemble run, well, actually, this is the operational run. Make sure I got that right. Yeah, the operational run is saying where Melisa is going to be. Well, it's saying where it is right now. Okay, so this flow working up against the system is creating wind shear. And I mean, folks, you can see it pretty well if you look at the satellite. And the sun is beginning to set on Melisa, so you're going to see a change here. But if you look right here, you can see the lower level clouds. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. The lower level clouds
Let me
kind
back
of
that
circulating
up
like
for a
this.
little bit. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's back that up for a little bit. Let's go again.
If you look at the satellite, and the sun is beginning to set on Melisa, so you're going to see a change here. But if you look right here, you can see the lower level clouds. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. The lower level clouds are kind of circulating like this. Okay? Our low level circulation is like right in here. Underneath this blow up of mid-level convection, you got some mid-level convection down here, mid-level convection up here. Okay, but the actual low level circulation is spinning cyclonically. I want you to put your focus in this area right here. You see how you got some thunderstorms and shower activity that kind of form, and then you can see like almost looks like puffs of smoke kind of going like this. You can see it very well right here closer to Central America. That is the wind shear ripping off the tops of these thunderstorms. That is our wind shear reflected on the model guidance right now. And it's hitting this side of the storm very hard right now. That's why it's so decoupled. And if you look right here, there's a ton of clouds and thunderstorm activity being dispersed out away. And you might say, well, what's causing that? Well, if you flip it back to this, it shows it well in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Look at all the air being dispersed out away from the storm. And that is because you have a lot of divergence aloft on the northern and really the entire eastern side of the storm, allowing for an environment in this entire area for a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity. But in this area, it's getting blasted by wind shear. So what changes over the next couple of days? As you move into the next couple of days, I really think this system will continue to deal with some wind shear. The western side of the system will continue to get hit. But I think this system, I think the upper wind pattern will improve. And I think with that ridge kind of nosing on top of the system that could yank it a little bit south, I think this causes a lot of divergence aloft. So now we're working with a lot of flow expanding out away from the system like this.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Okay.
Like that. Still some flow working up against the system right here. But just symmetrically speaking, there's more flow expanding out away from the system aloft than there is right now, I should say. So therefore, that millibar begins to drop. The system begins to develop an inner core. When it develops an inner core, it can really begin to rapidly intensify. The inner core is a core of moisture that protects it from any dry air that's trying to come in from the wind shear, eating up all the convection on whatever side of the storm it may be. With this system, it's the western side. So the environment dramatically improves, and we have a lot of just disbursement of air, divergence aloft. And this system, at the same time, also just enters an environment that even though we got some shear working up against the system, I want you to look how it's kind of working against the system and then abruptly stops and goes like this. That is the system, in my opinion. I like to say this a lot. It's almost creating its own environment. It becomes so strong. The cyclonic rotation of the system becomes so high, so aloft, that it doesn't matter what the almost upper level winds are doing in a way, because the system is so tall and creating its own environment. Sorry, just geeking out a little bit. That's what happens with these tropical systems. So you can see as we're waking up tomorrow morning, you see the brown, that's dry air. The green is moist air. So there's a lot of brown, almost said brown air, almost said it. There's a lot of dry air up close and personal to the western side of Melisa. There's a lot of moist air, green air. I keep doing that because I've said that multiple times in a video covering the tropics before. A lot of moist air on the eastern side of the system. Dry air on west, moist air on the east. But as you move here in time, this system is able to thrive in a lot of low wind shear. It develops that inner core, protects itself, cocoons itself with a ton of moisture, and it develops an environment for a lot of rising air. Rising air allows for shower and thunderstorm activity. And as this air rises, it gets dispersed out away because of what we're seeing with this, the dispersion of air pushing out away from the system like this. So as air comes up through the system, it gets blown away aloft. This allows for more air to rise, and it's just a continuous cycle: rising air, convection, shower, and storm activity. Shower and storm activity is moist air. Tropical systems like moist air. Hope that makes sense. Now, moving on up the road in time here. What's the latest on this potentially affecting New England, Atlantic Canada? Well, model guidance is really...
Okay, let's kind of break it there because we want to stick to the Caribbean, and that's going all the way up there. So we're not too concerned about that right now. What we're concerned about is what's going to be happening in the Caribbean. And this is a big, big deal, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to the show. There's a lot of people watching at this point. We say, welcome to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. This is Thursday Night Live, and we're talking about Tropical Storm Melisa, which will intensify to a hurricane. That's the forecast. And it's in the impact of it is going to be of hurricane strength and maybe of historical hurricane strength. We're talking Cat 4 or 5, could be more. The models are showing that it could make a turn upwards through the Dominican Republic and Haiti, which will take it away from Jamaica. That's a possibility that's waning at this point. The models are showing that the hurricane, the tropical storm Melisa will track more west and could go a little bit south of the island, which is not a good look because it will intensify even more over those warm waters. Other models are showing that it will come directly over the island of Jamaica, which is not a good look because it's going to meander there for a few days at a Cat 3-4. So whichever way you take it, the other models are showing that it could go around to the western side of Jamaica and work itself up north. Either way, it's going to impact Jamaica in a monumental way. So this is why we're saying we have a short window left to prepare. So spread the word. A very short window to prepare. So get your final preparations completed. Batten down those roofs, batten up the windows. Also get your supplies in, your candles, your matches, or lighters, whatever you have. And get your oils in, your gas, and so on for your generators. You're going to need those solar lights. Charge up those phones and batteries. Keep charging them until the power goes, because we know they're going to shut that power down when that system comes in a strong way. After a certain period, they're going to lock it down because it's for safety purposes. Or try to secure your cars, get extra gas, food, secure those dry goods, in plastics and so on, plastic containers. Get your radio batteries. so you can keep in connection with the world, so you can get the news from those, AM band or FM band, whichever is working. Sometimes the communication goes down with those towers with phones. So we're going to keep this show alive and open for each and every one to call in. Just look down below, store the numbers, get it, keep it on speed dial. You can send in your videos if you're on location. You can take the videos, send them into us on those WhatsApp numbers. All right, so we can see it, or you can send it over your social media too, or on our social media. But whichever way you want to do it, our contact information is down below, so we can send it out there. If there's any event going on, whether it be negative or positive, please send it in. If you have enough battery power. I'm not saying you should make it a priority. The priority is to keep as much battery power as possible until things get back normal. That could take a while. So you got to be absolutely careful, so you don't deplete the battery, the battery power. And you will probably need it, or will need it, along the way as you wait for things to normalize. Don't expect that if this hit as a Cat 4 or 5 or Category 5 and it hits the island, that things are going to go back to normal anytime soon. You get what I'm saying? It's going to take a while. You saw the last hurricane that hit the south coast of Jamaica, South Central Jamaica got the brunt of it. Treasure Beach, Southfield, Top Hill Junction, Calapan, New Forest, Alligator Pond, Sea Ear Downs, and all those places, up through Prospect and so on, Nain, you name it. They got hit. Gutters, Montpelier. All those places got hit real bad the last time. It's coming in somewhere around there. You know what I mean? So, but with this event, it's gonna, if it comes close to the island, it's gonna cause damage widespread. So, if you are planning to, if you're in Jamaica and you're planning to leave on the weekend, I think you need to change your travel plans. Check with your airlines. Don't listen to me. Check with your airlines. Make your own plans. But I would be out of there tonight to tomorrow. Goodness gracious me, I'd write it out if I had plans to travel. If you're planning, if you're in the island and you're on holidays, I have a few friends down there. I told them check with your airlines and try to get out before things get bad, because when it begins to shut things down, then things may take a while to get back in order. If you have your mortgages, rents, and bills to pay here, and you got to get back to your job, you may be stuck on the island for a while if it comes over the island or close enough, because it's going to intensify to a Cat 4 or 5. That's what is predicted. It could be less, maybe a Cat 2 or 3, but even at a lower category, because it's going to be there for such a long time, it's going to cause massive damage. The flooding, the winds, it's going to topple things because the ground is going to be saturated. There's going to be a lot of water with this event. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, guys, and send that word out there. And we got to say, while we're saying commenting, we got to say to D. Morgan, 9161, God is in control. Let us continue to pray. Absolutely. D. Morgan say hi, and we say hi back. Blessed love. And also, this is New Gen. So big up. We say hi to New Gen, and also Baby Craig, Jaja. Bless up every time. Baby Craig says, hey. I say, hey, this is Naram Promotions, Real Deal Podcast Show. Welcome to each and every one. And he says, I'm worried. I think we are going to get this as a strong tropical storm. We hope. If it's a strong tropical storm, it beats a category 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. You know, a strong tropical storm is bad, but it's not as bad as a category 2, 3, 4, 5. So we hope it stays at a tropical storm. But given the explanation that was just given by those people who are looking at the meteorological data, it does not seem it's going to be a tropical storm for long. It's going to intensify to a hurricane. The only thing we don't know is where exactly it's going to go. However, wherever it goes at this point, there's going to be a huge impact. So we got to be gonna understand the fact that if you have not prepared, I'm sure that most of those supermarkets, I don't think they're holding a lot in there now. But whatever is left, you can, if you have nothing prepared, it's better to have something rather than nothing. Okay, for those who cannot afford it, and for those who can, help someone. Try to help somebody. You know what I mean? I know it's tough times, but help someone. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what the situation is going to be after we call it the aftermath. And that person that you help could probably help you or send someone to help you. You know what I mean? You never know what direction this thing is going to go and what's going to happen to you or your loved ones. You know what I mean? It's going to be a huge, huge event. So take heed, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to, let me get the phone lines up and running, and it's scrolling down below. You can call in and we can have a discussion and take it from there. All right. So the phone lines are, let's see, one is up. And let's get the other one going. Let's see. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. And we say this is a big, big deal of what's going to be going on between now and next week. You get what I'm saying? So, like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell. And let's get the big deal. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to open the phone lines for about 20 minutes. If you want to call in and have a discussion and tell me how you're preparing, do so now or do it in the comment section. Do it in the comment section. Or you can call in and have a discussion. But for right now, we say, I'm not going to touch on anything else, but we're going to have some inspiration tomorrow. It is a big deal. It is one of an event that is geared up to be one of the most historic weather events in the Caribbean for a very long time. This is a big deal. If it takes a certain direction, then this could be off the charts. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, and you can call in and let's have a discussion and hear what you have to say. You know, we have comments coming in. Let's go. And it says, good evening. Just caught you looking at the scene at the moment. And I think that as Jamaicans by now, always be prepared when hurricane season starts. It's an annual thing. You know, let's look at it from another perspective. You know, there's a lot of times, as you know, resources are very scarce in certain categories of society in Jamaica. And you have a lot of years that have passed that nothing has happened. And you continue to prepare and deplete those resources. And those are scarce resources. So some people become complacent and said, nah, it's not going to hit. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes and it veers off. You know, they said, yeah, it happens, so we live here. But I can understand. And I absolutely agree with Mass Control 3589. I do agree with you. It happens every year, so you have a year to prepare. That's the way you got to look at it. I do agree with you. However, there's not a lot of people there that can actually put aside what they need to prepare every year. A lot of people having a hard time surviving, paying those bills, paying those rents, taking care of the children and their family, the school fees. Things are expensive. Jobs are not consistent. So the earning is not consistent. And the poor people are suffering for that. Farmers are having it hard right now. And with a hurricane coming in, their crops are going to be destroyed. So you're going to be set back a lot, especially in South Central Jamaica or across Jamaica in farming areas. People who have sacrificed and they're building their homes and they're not yet finished, and to see this coming to destroy it, they're going to start all over again. So by the time you get to next year, a lot of these people will not have the resources to gain that edge of preparation. So it's tough. So there's got to be unity. And this is where, with the disaster preparedness, the organization there under the government, there should be some kind of relief for these people who cannot afford it. So, for example, roof straps. You could distribute roof straps that every year these straps are more of a sturdy nature that can last some time, that they can put them in place to strap roofs down. Not everybody can afford a deck, so to speak, but you can strap the roof down. So you can put those stakes down in the ground or secure them somewhere so you can strap the roofs down. You know what I mean? So that's one way. You can also have food banks. They have shelters, yes, food banks. They have the buses now that they can use to move people around, because these buses are strong, man. These school buses, oh yeah. Yeah, they use them here in the United States. They go everywhere. They got strong engines. So that would not be a problem moving people around. But you can put in a comment section. You can give ideas there of what can be done. And I see another comment coming in here. Let's see. It's a matter of hoping for the best, but be on guard. Keep the storm box topped up. I hear you, but do what you can. I know what you're saying, bro. Bless up. That's blessing every time. Yeah, keep that storm box topped up. You gotta prepare. You gotta make those sacrifices. Instead of, some of these guys are going to these huge, grandioso parties. Put some of that quarter rum and chasers and grabber and all them thing aside and put that money in the storm box, because it's coming, and grandma and mommy and daddy and all them thing, they need a little help. So check it out. The kids need stuff after the storm, so you gotta put things away for that time. We know we're faced with a lot of adversities as we go along in life, and we rise and we fall, but prepare ahead of time. Try to put a plan in place so that when these events come around, you at least have something in the storm box. Welcome back to Namram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be covering the show. We're going to cover this event with this show right through the entire event. We have 2 shows tomorrow. That's Friday Fusion will be early at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, New York time, with DJ Ashley out of the UK on passionradiouk.com. We're going to have a show around about 9 p.m. tomorrow to cover the storm event, this tropical storm Melisa. On Saturday, we have Saturday Night Vibes with DJ Latta, but we're going to be mixing that with a lot of coverage because the storm is going to intensify during that time. So we're going to be on live and we're going to keep our phone lines open. Also on Sunday, we're going to tap in. We're going to be here live for you because at that time it's going to hit somewhere. So we'll follow it through. Monday we'll be here for PIP Mondays, where we prioritize, inform, and promote. We're going to try to get through to Mr. Vivian Thomas, but I don't think we're going to continue with the series as it is. We're going to be talking more of what's happening on the island if we're able to contact him, because we don't know what the communication is going to be looking like. We're going to go on till Tuesday when we're going to try to keep it going as much as possible to cover the event, so you can call in and also you can like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, know when we're coming on so you can see all the videos of what it has been sent into us and what we're broadcasting, so you can see where things are happening, what is happening as the videos come in. So we're going to urge everyone across the Caribbean, wherever this system is hitting, you call into the show or send in your videos. You can also send in your messages or your comments so that we can send it out there. If you need to reach out to someone, if you're here in the United States, do so, and do so through our show if you cannot get through elsewhere. But this is one option for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, those in the United States, begin to prepare to pack those barrels, those crates, and so on. Get them ready. I'm sure the government of Jamaica will make concessions for those to come in at a reduced cost. So I hope, that's what we're hoping and praying, that the government will take this initiative to allow the people in the diaspora to help those who are affected. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. This is Naram Promotion, the Real Deal podcast show, and we call this Thursday Night Live. So we're gonna chime out, ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow at 1 p.m. and I thank everyone for commenting. Please keep it coming. I'll respond to each and every one of you. You know what I mean? So we'll be running a marathon here between now and whenever we see it fit to take it down back to regular programming. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Always pray when you're going out, pray when you're coming in, and always remember, God is in control. Stay safe, stay prepared, and also spread that word. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here, and God bless you all. And we say, stay safe, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe. Naram Promotions is at you.